Welcome to Florida. This week we embarked on a unique journey. We boarded the Amtrak Auto Train in Lorton, Virginia near Washington, D.C. and traversed the 850-mile route to Sanford, Florida near Orlando. This was our first time sleeping on a train, and we have a wealth of insights to share about this experience.
In today's video, we'll explain this service and share our first impressions. We've also created a companion guide with simple graphs to help you see the cost breakdown and compare the options available to you. The Amtrak website can be a little bit confusing, so we try to make it easier to understand.
It is confusing, so it might seem expensive on the surface. However, it could be a savings for you if you are a senior heading south for the winter or a family heading to Orlando for a theme park vacation. Let's go.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
If you're just finding us, we're a senior travel couple who usually travel abroad. This year we've been to India, Sri Lanka, Southern and Western Africa, Southern Europe, and Mexico. We're home for a more extended break to visit our family, and we're heading out after the first of the year. If you'd like to know where we are as we travel, we keep our location updated on Instagram. We also have a newsletter with a link below.
One of our daughters lives near DC, and we needed to travel to Orlando to visit John's mom. Rather than deal with the stress of flying or the long hours of driving, we decided to ride the Amtrak Auto Train. The Auto Train, which transports about 250,000 people a year and 130,000 automobiles, offers a convenient and comfortable alternative. The service operates daily in both directions, and its southbound train passes the northbound at night. It only makes one stop to change personnel. Otherwise, the train is nonstop, ensuring a smooth and stress-free journey.
The peak travel times are the summer when families are heading to Florida for vacations, and in the late fall and early spring when seniors are traveling for snowbird season. Now, we traveled in mid-September in what Amtrak considers the shoulder season.
The train is the longest passenger train in the world during peak times, with cars added or removed depending on demand. During our trip, it was working at about 60% capacity. Most people who drive this route know it's 12 hours of often painful traffic on Interstate 95. Since most people stop for a rest at a hotel, it usually takes 2 days for them to complete the journey. We needed a car for our onward journey, so the Auto Train sounded promising. In our guide, we also compare the cost to drive and the train.
We've ridden trains worldwide, and before we booked, we wanted to see what people were saying about Amtrak and this route in particular. Now, not surprisingly, we saw many negative reviews, and many people told us absolutely do not book coach. Now, we always read negative reviews, but we don't always believe what we read.
The overriding assumption is that Amtrak is inferior to European trains. Since we love train travel in Europe, we thought we needed to jump on board so that we can make up our own minds. We had very low expectations.
That's right. Now, at first, we considered the 3 classes of seats: coach, roomette, and bedroom. Since we're taking a long-distance Amtrak train next year and we have reserved a bedroom, we decided to book a coach seat. I mean, how bad could it be? You know, we were only going to be there for one night. A few days before we were to get on board, we got an email asking us if we wanted to upgrade or put in a bid to upgrade for a roomette or a bedroom. We have the minimum bid amounts in our article below. Now, we already paid for tickets for ourselves and a car, so upgrading added to the overall cost. At this point, we decided to place a bid to see if the minimum would get us the upgrade. Now, it usually doesn't work for airlines, but we were curious.
Lo and behold, we got the upgrade, and now we were booked in a roomette. On the day of boarding, we drove to the station. The line was not long, and the loading system was very organized. When you approach, the attendants greet you, and they're very helpful. They film the condition of your car and assign you a car number. Now, this is a 3-digit number, and when they unload your car, they will call out this number and post it on the overhead monitor so that you can pick it up. You don't want to forget your number.
Yes, write this number down. Now, some people pay extra to have their car removed first in Sanford. Now, we were not in a hurry, so we passed and hoped for the best. You know, the price is also in our guide. Our instructions were to arrive in Virginia by 3 p.m. for a 5 p.m. departure, but we opted to get there a little early and arrived at 1:30. Now, when you hand over the keys to the car, your car goes on the train, so do not leave behind anything because you won't be able to retrieve it.
We could watch the cars get loaded or sit inside a pleasant waiting room in a very clean train station. They also have park seats for sitting in the shade outside, or you can walk on the platform. When we checked in, we were told they usually have 2 dinner seats, one at 6 o'clock and one at 8. They were out of tables at 6, so we were assigned the 8 o'clock time slot. The check-in process was smooth and the attendants were friendly.
There was also a convenience store where we bought snacks, but we should have brought our own because it was pretty costly in the shop. You know, we saw people come in with sandwiches and even pizza, and we knew they were not rookies like us. So feel free to bring any food you'd like.
When the time came, we boarded and found our room upstairs. The process was very organized and a room attendant greeted us. We settled into the room and the announcements about the logistics were made.
As it turns out, we were in the upstairs. The Roomette is a small train car with privacy and a closing door. It locks from the inside, but not the outside. It has 2 seats that face each other with a pull-out table in the middle, like an airline table. The chairs fold down and are made into a bed at night, and then an upper berth is lowered for the second bed. Pillows, towels, and 1 electrical plug are provided. There really wasn't room for a suitcase, and we were glad we each brought everything in a small backpack. The attendant will ask you what time you want your bed turned down, and they will return then.
We suggest bringing an eye mask and earplugs. While it wasn't overly loud, the cars made enough noise to wake you up. The curtains in the room close tight, but they're very thin, and the hall light shines brightly. Each room has a temperature adjustment, and we thought the room cooled very well. We were comfortable with the temperature.
At night, when we went to sleep, I slept on the bottom bunk, and Bev took one for the team and was in the top bunk.
It was very tight and difficult to maneuver. Getting in was hard for me.
It would have been impossible for me.
And there wasn't much to hold on to. Getting down was just as hard. And while it had a net to latch so that you wouldn't fall out, it still felt like you could roll off. I'm sure I couldn't, but it was very narrow up there. The bed cushion on the top is harder than the one on the bottom, and I didn't think it was a good choice for many seniors. Probably most seniors reserve a bedroom.
The biggest drawback to this room, besides the upper bunk, which Bev took, is that it didn't offer a private bath. The bathroom was just down the hall, but if it was taken, there were 2 more bathrooms and a shower just below downstairs. The showers offered clean towels, soap, shampoo, conditioner, and lotion. Each car had about 10 roomettes and about 5 or 6 bedrooms. You know, we thought the bathrooms were clean and smelled good, and we had no issues.
Yeah, we were able to tour a bedroom, which has a private bath, and it was much nicer than the roomette. In these rooms, the bottom bunk is the width of a full-size bed and has an upper bunk similar to a roomette. There's also a separate chair and a pull-out table. Each train offers family rooms for 4, but we didn't get to see this one. The advantage of the family room is that it takes the entire width of the train, so you can see out both sides.
We saw several people traveling solo, and they probably managed a roomette just fine. But if we were doing it again, we would book the bedroom and sleep together on the lower berth. We met a woman who had a bedroom that she had just gotten in a bid, and she was very happy with the choice.
Since we are traveling during the shoulder season, we aren't sure that these low bids would work in the high season, but it's worth a try. We learned that at this time of the year, the cost is lower going north than south, and that the ticket prices adjust with demand.
Once settled, we headed down to the lounge car to sit. The advantage of doing this was that we had a table to work at, and we also had a better view. From here, we could see both sides of the train, whereas in our roomette, we only got one view. Now here's a pro tip. If you're going south, try to get on the left side of the train because you can see some beautiful coastline as you travel through Virginia.
Now, we loved our time in the lounge. They played soft music and we met some friendly travelers, although it wasn't full or crowded. The bar attendant, nicknamed Bry Guy, was an extra nice, and he even subscribed. So thank you, Bry Guy.
When the first seating was announced, Bry Guy asked if we had the early seating for dinner, and we explained that we couldn't get it. He offered to go ask in the dining room if there was room for us, and he got us in. We sat with a very lovely couple and shared a nice meal. Now, we both had salmon, lemon risotto, green beans, and dessert. You can have a glass of wine or a beer with your meal, and all of this is included in the cost of the room. You can also arrange to have your meal brought to your bedroom if you prefer.
Breakfast was also included, and we thought it was good. If you want a grab-and-go breakfast, it's available to take back to your room, but you can also sit and eat a hot meal in the dining room.
After dinner, we went to the coach cabin to check it out, and we were actually very pleasantly surprised by the seats. You know, this coach was very similar to first-class seating on European trains. The leather seats had ample leg room, and the room was pretty quiet, and I don't think we would have hated riding there, and even though we had seen many negative reviews about it, we didn't have the same impression. You know, it was beautifully appointed and also very pleasant. The clientele was probably a bit younger than those staying in the sleeper cars. So if you sit here, you'll be sleeping in a reclining chair that doesn't lie flat, and you'll need an eye mask, earplugs, a pillow, and compression socks.
Your meals will not be included in the coach seating. Food is served in the cafe car. You can bring your own food or purchase it there. The coach and sleeper cabins offer complimentary coffee, tea, and hot chocolate. They also provide bottles of water and ice if you want.
Our impressions were that this was one of our favorite train journeys because of the staff on the train. You know, everyone we met was friendly and happy to be working at Amtrak. You know, they went out of their way to be accommodating and gracious. This is honestly the big difference in this train and the European trains. The workers were just much friendlier.
Our overall impression of the train is that it is top-notch. In terms of comfort and style, it was not much different from what we've experienced abroad. European high-speed trains are incredibly smooth, but these tracks weren't as smooth.
We left early and arrived an hour early. You know, even when we unloaded, the process was smooth and orderly, and we probably waited only about 20 minutes for our car. Now, of course, in peak season, this might be a bit longer, but it was not a problem for us.
We asked ourselves if there was anything we thought needed to change, and we couldn't think of anything except that we wish the windows were cleaner on the outside for our filming. But that's it. We would highly recommend this route.
To us, the biggest advantage of this route is being able to take your car with you, which allows you to avoid the high cost of rentals when visiting Florida. We've also compared this cost in our article, so check it out below.
Our only other pro tip is to make sure that you bring some cash so you can tip your room attendant and the restaurant staff. They did such a great job and deserved a bit extra. We hope this video has introduced you to a new way to travel, and we'll see you next time.
Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.